Hi everyone, and today we will see how test orchestration can be implemented using DevOps to increase the delivery speed and quality of the product. So today we have our coach Ankur with us, and he'll be telling us what is the definition of what is this and how we can implement using DevOps. So over to you, Ankur.
Thank you, Sushma. So, hello everyone. Myself, Ankur Thakur, working as Senior Software Consultant QA here at Nordless. Welcome to today's knowledge session, which is all about test orchestration using DevOps. Okay, so let's begin with some of our knowledge etiquettes. So, first is punctuality. Join the session 5 minutes prior to the session start time, and we should be able to start and conclude our meetings or sessions on time. Oh, just give me 1 second. I forgot to hit record. Just give me 1 second. Okay, my mistake. Let me just start once again. Okay, so hello everyone. Myself Ankur, working as Senior Software Consultant QA here at Nordless. Welcome to today's knowledge session, which is all about test orchestration using DevOps. So let's go through some of the knowledge etiquettes. First one is punctuality. Join the session 5 minutes prior to the session start time. As we know, everyone is busy with their work, so we should be on time so that the session can start on time and end on time, and we can have, if we can have some extra time, so we should be able to save it. Second is feedback. Make sure you submit a constructive feedback for all sessions, as it is very helpful to the presenter. It helps them improve if they are making any mistakes, or if they are good feedback, then it's also good to know that they are good, they are doing good. Third one is the silent mode. Keep your mobile devices on silent mode, and if you need to attend any call, you can just move out and attend your call. And last but not the least, avoid disturbance or any unwanted chit chat in the session. Okay, so let's move ahead and see what is our agenda for today's session. Firstly, we will see what is test orchestration and DevOps. Then we will see why do we need test orchestration. Then we will see where does orchestration fit in our current cycle that we are using. We will see what are the differences between test automation and test orchestration. We will see plan for our simple plan for test orchestration that can be implemented easily. And lastly, we will have the test orchestration architecture, and then we will have our demo with us. Okay, so let's start with what is test orchestration. In simple words, test orchestration refers to a series of automation tasks that you can schedule in a linear order. You can execute your test consecutively, and you are in control of deciding the order. In a normal scenario, we perform a single type of test on the service. It can be a functional test, integration test, performance test, etc. But when we are talking about test orchestration, it refers to running multiple types of tests sequentially. But by this, we can ensure that every service is truly tested end to end. Often regarded as building blocks of test automation, the whole point of test orchestration is to optimize the test strategy on a holistic level. Creating and working on a generic test strategy is easy and can be done using traditional test automation only. But creating a custom test strategy for the service is a totally different approach. This orchestration helps us optimize our approach and makes our test more interconnected than before. With a test orchestration, you can grab the insights into the big picture of deployment, which fosters transparency and helps your team plan and modify the test strategy. So when we write the automation test for a service, these tests can be run before or after the code has been merged on the particular branch. We don't have much control over it. We can just say that these are the tests, these are to be run. But in test orchestration, we get a deeper look into the deployment as we decide when and how our multiple automation tests will be run. This helps the testing team come up with updated testing strategy that works with deployment cycles. So one strategy for one project might not work on the other project, so we need to modify it according to the requirement. And test orchestration helps us do that. We can rearrange the order of the test. We can see which tests are to be run on priority. They can be set only to be run, or we can set that these are the tests to be run in the last, so everything is done in our control. Besides it offers you the flexibility to test software or certain features of software repeatedly during the development stages. This helps detect the fix errors as they occur. In test orchestration, we can execute multiple automated tests as a part of testing workflow. So every service has some core functionalities that are to be tested more thoroughly than the other services during the development cycle. This can be because any bugs or defect in this service could break the service for all the users. So there are a couple of core functionalities that are never to be messed with. They should always be working, and if they break, multiple services dependent upon them will break. In this case, it is necessary to run the test on the service after each and every code merge. So there can be a number of developers working on a single service, and after each code merge, there are certain changes to it, and it may break or it may not break. So it is very crucial that we test the changes, and if we find any issue, we should be able to identify them easily. By implementing test orchestration, we can run multiple tests in a single run and identify any issues and start fixing them as soon as possible. So as the code functionalities are important to the functioning of the all other services, so we need to fix these issues on priority whenever we see them. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Let's see what is DevOps. DevOps is a software development and IT operations process that helps to improve the collaboration between developers and operators by automating the deployment, configuration, monitoring, and management of applications. DevOps can be best explained as people working together to conceive, build, and deliver secure software at top speed. DevOps practices enables software developers and operations team to accelerate delivery through automation, collaboration, and fast feedback and iterative improvement. DevOps implement the CI/CD, which is continuous integration, continuous deployment cycle. This helps us automating the complete software lifecycle. Using the same CI/CD principle, we can implement our test orchestration, which we'll be seeing in the further slides and also in the demo. Okay, let's move to the next one, which is why do we need test orchestration? So this is a very genuine question that arises in everyone's mind, that why do we need test orchestration? Why not normal test automation is sufficient for our testing needs? So with orchestration in place, delivery teams can perform several rounds of testing with an extremely limited amount of time and still achieve the desired levels of quality. Test orchestration harps upon the correctness of three critical components. So, as we execute multiple types of tests in a single go, not only it saves us a lot of time, but also it gives us the same quality of results as if the tests were run individually. So we have two options: we can run the tests using the orchestration, or we can run them individually as well. But the individual one will require some sort of manual intervention, and that may be helpful in some scenarios, but in most of them. So if a developer is working at 3 o'clock in the morning and he has merged his code, so the pipeline should be triggered automatically without any manual intervention and should give the result that if the current existing service is working as expected or not after the current changes or not. If we need to have some manual intervention, then we will have to wait till the morning time whenever the ops team comes in and runs the test manually, and that is just waste of time. We will be wasting crucial amount of hours in the meanwhile. That will not be helpful. Okay, so let's discuss the critical components that are needed for test orchestration. So, firstly, automation of individual test units such as unit test, system test, integration test, functional test, performance test, and as already discussed, using the test orchestration, we can run multiple types of tests. So, it is important to see what all tests are to be automated and how important are they for the service. For example, functional and integration tests are a must if you want to test the end-to-end flow of the service. So there are a number types of tests we can run. So for example, the unit test can be run by the developer itself whenever he is merging the code. Okay, just give me 1 second. There's a power cut in my place. Just give me 1 second. Is my screen visible or not right now?
Like
No.
a black screen is visible. No.
Okay. Because I am recording the second screen. If I will stop the recording, the recording will be messed up. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Just give me a second. Let me make some arrangement. Is my screen visible again?
Yes, yes, Ankur.
Thank you for that. And my apologies. I didn't know there will be a power cut, so I could have made some arrangements. My apologies for that. Okay. So the recording is still going on. Okay. So I was at the data setup part. Yeah. Yeah. No, so let me repeat the first point again. As already discussed, we are using test orchestration and we can have multiple tests running at the same time. So it is important that we have all the tests that are to be, we check that all the tests that are important to us, we know that they are there. And for example, we have functional and integration tests that are to be run for the end-to-end testing flow of the service. So we can have multiple tests. There can be performance tests, there can be UI tests, and many other types of tests. So we can decide what all are crucial for our test execution and what are not. So the crucial ones can be added to the test orchestration cycle, and the other one can be skipped or can be performed in the later part of the our testing cycle. Okay. So the next point is data setup is used as a point as input to each unit test, such as that will be the output to the system test, and the system test output will be the input to the integration test. So we can have such a setup that the data given in the first step will be the output for the service. The same output will be used in the second phase of the test. So if we have the unit test and then we have the functional test, so the output from the unit test can be used in the functional test, and this not only saves times but also reduces the data being created by the automation test suite. So whenever we run our test suite, so there is a very huge possibility that we are not able to delete any data that we create. So it can be creating multiple users, making some groups or something like that. That can not be deleted normally. We try to delete them, but every time it is not possible. So in this scenario, our test orchestration creates a very limited amount of data that can be uh, that can be used throughout our test. So we don't need multiple types of tests or with multiple types of data, and that also goes easy on the resources. Okay. Last point is validation of test reports for successes as well as failures. such as the report of smoke test that may reveal the readiness of the environment, and the report of performance test that may help in configuring the right capacity of resources needed by the application. After the successful or failed execution of our test, we should have a detailed report to see what went wrong. We should not just be getting the final results of pass or fail, but we should also get what went wrong so that we can fix the issue and keep the cycle going. Without correct information, we are not using the orchestration at its full potential. So it is a very common thing that whenever we run our test, we might see some failures. If the execution is successful, then it's the other case. But if we see any failures, we need to fix them as soon as possible. But to fix them, we should know what the issue is. We should not be just getting that this particular test failed without any reason. I don't know what happened. Just go and check the logs. No, we should be getting the correct information. We should be getting some sort of logs or some details to us that we can use to debug the issue, and we should be able to help the developer as well that this is the particular issue and that is to be fixed. So this will be helpful in the end-to-end cycle of our test orchestration. Let's move to the next one, and let's see where does test orchestration fit in. As more and more organizations adopt cloud and DevOps process, setting up a CI/CD pipeline is the first step towards a better and faster delivery. Continuous testing helps in achieving the desired level of quality and speed of delivery. Organizations are now recognizing the importance of DevOps and how it can be the first step towards better and faster delivery. Continuous testing is becoming a part of continuous integration and continuous deployment to give us the desired levels of quality. So previously we had different operations team, different dev team, and they used to work in different silos. But now organizations are recognizing their importance that a DevOps, a single person who can operate both the dev side and operation side, is far more beneficial as compared to two different person handling two different aspects of the delivery cycle. While CI/CD takes care of orchestration, the entire delivery process, test orchestration is more specialized towards various types of testing. CI/CD is used for the complete delivery process from coding to creating the build, deploying and monitoring, etc. Test orchestration mainly focuses on the continuous testing part, which keeps on going with each and every cycle with various types of testing. It is important to understand that even the best test automation technique require a certain amount of manual intervention. Manual intervention is also necessary to ensure that the environment is stable under a load or the of data and test execution. Complete automation without any manual effort is still very, very difficult to achieve. We still require some sort of manual intervention to run the automation test suits. Manual intervention is also necessary because we need to check the environment and keep updating the data set for the test execution, as the same data set will never yield any new result. So if we have a set of test results and we are giving them the input, for example ABC, and we keep on repeating those tests again and again and again, so there is a very good chance that after a certain amount of time that particular test will not be yielding any new results, because we are giving the same input and we are expecting the same output. But after some time, after a couple of days or couple of weeks, we need to update that data to maybe XYZ or say GIF, anything that can be any input, but we need to keep on updating the test data that we are using in our test so that our tests don't become stale, and when they yield new results and finds new bugs for us. Okay. Then comes the need to orchestrate the test. This helps delivery team adopt a risk-based approach where they can focus more on the areas of testing that requires a greater focus. While the orchestration of test, the delivery team adopts a risk-based approach. Risk-based testing prioritizes testing of features and functions of the software application, which are more impactful and are likely to have defects. So we can focus on them and monitor them closely. So whenever we are working on development of any product, there are certain features that are more complex than the other, and there is a very good chance that most of the bugs are coming from that particular you can say module or functionality. So we can identify those particular areas that this is a very crucial part, and there may be many tests because the code inside is very complex. So we can run the test based on those particular code functionalities and see if we find any issues or not. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next one. Let's see what are the benefits of test orchestration. Okay, so first one is fail early, fix easily. When a test case fails early in delivery cycle, it is much easier to address the issue, and as the complexity is low, and the cost of fixing the issue is also very low. Second is better automation coverage. With test automation, with test orchestration as an objective of test automation, automation coverage improves from the application. Where more test cases are automated, it is easier to reduce the cost and time of delivery. So if we have many test cases for even simpler flows that can be automated manual that can be executed manually, we are saving a lot of time because we are not waiting for a human to just execute those tests. We have the automation script, we just need to push a button and those are executed automatically. We do not need a specific QA person for that. Developers can execute those tests. We can have the DevOps team execute those tests, and that will be very helpful to us. Increase productivity. Third point is increased productivity. So all aspects of an application can be tested across multiple concerns where the tests are automated and orchestration pipelines are created. It directly improves the overall productivity of the delivery team. Next one is faster builds. With several automated tests, it is easier and faster to construct the test pipeline and prepare the application builds. Smaller feedback loops. When a certain concern is orchestrated, such as security, only the information and security experts needs to be involved in setting it up and verifying the results. So if we are setting a particular pipeline for say integration test, so for that we will be requiring only a QA person, and we don't need the developers or anybody else. They are only the QAs can help and set up that pipeline. We do not need many people involved in a single task. And last but not the least, minimize the risk of failure. Test orchestration pipeline can be created according to the risk assessment of the application. Focused pipeline can be created to address the risk and concerns related to the performance, scalability, availability, robustness, and security. Okay. Now let's discuss the key differences between test automation and test orchestration. The difference between test automation and test orchestration is perhaps the most discussed aspect of test orchestration. While both vary, test automation can generate solid results, and test orchestration is introduced into your test when introduced into your testing strategy. Okay. Uh,
So, do we have any queries or questions from our side?
Hi Sushma, yes, I have a question. Hi Ankur, can we implement test orchestration on any other framework such as Cypress? And also, can we implement projects using SBT, or only Maven is supported?
okay, so we will be seeing this in demo. Apart from that, we can have multiple types of tests. So as you told me, Cypress. So yeah, Cypress can be implemented over there. And even if we have some other projects other than Maven, or it can be SBT. So if we have the required dependencies, then we can easily automate them. So there is no foundation of any framework. If a test can be run locally, that can be easily executed on our test orchestration pipeline as well.
Okay, okay, thank you, Ankur.
Okay. Uh, okay. So test automation and test orchestration are two totally different approaches. Automated test can be utilized individually, but test orchestration cannot be implemented without the automated test. So test orchestration is dependent upon the automated test. So if we don't have any automated test, then we don't have any test orchestration with us. Let's see some other differences between them. Usually, there's a lot of confusion between test orchestration and automation. But here's the difference. The test automation is the process of automating a task, while test orchestration is the act of scheduling of putting those automated tasks in a well-defined order. When we execute or run the test individually, it's part of the test automation. Once we arrange them in a well-defined order, then it becomes test orchestration. Uh, One automates test, the other strategizes the order of test and decides which test should be tested in what sequence. In a nutshell, test orchestration brings order to the test automation. So we can automate a number of services with a number of testing tools and frameworks. But it's important to identify which of them should be a part of the orchestration and what should be the sequence of those execution. It is not very fruitful if we are trying to run performance test before running any functional or integration test, as if these tests are failing, if the integration and functional tests are failing, there is no point of running the performance test because the service is not giving the correct output at that point of time. Test automation requires much more intervention as compared to test orchestration, as most of the manual effort required has been fulfilled by the test automation. As already we have discussed, test orchestration requires less manual intervention as compared to the test automation. Okay. So let's move to the next slide and see the plan for test orchestration. So firstly, we have establish a measurable purpose for each test orchestration pipeline. For example, a test orchestration pipeline can be defined to trigger before every release of the product and performance testing under various degrees of load. The expected outcome include the performance metrics and the application configuration recommendation and higher throughput. The purpose of the test orchestration helps to identify the level of test automation planned and achieved in that direction. The second phase is to identify the tools. In this, the right tools can impact the correctness and the test outcome. Without manual intervention, the tools required to generate the load test data would be significant from other tools. In absence of tools that are according to the needs of test orchestration pipeline, scripts needs to be created and added to the pipeline. So if there are many any of the specific types of requirements, then we need to take care of them in our orchestration script or in the test automation script. Identify the data and logs that needs to be monitored. That intelligence of the system is necessity, and orchestration pipeline can deliver its best value when its outputs are captured and analyzed. Okay. Last is automate and more test. So when we start the automating, simplest piece first. For example, we have any UI or API, we can use frameworks like Rest Assured, Selenium, Postman, etc. to automate them. These test automation tools and frameworks can eliminate the complexities of manual testing and allow the user to test faster and more efficiently. Okay. Okay, so let's move to the architecture part of this session. This particular test orchestration. So this is a very simple architecture. Firstly, we have a YAML file in which we write our test script that can be triggered according to our requirement. It can be triggered after a code merge or after a pull request is created. Once the build pipeline is triggered, we have multiple types of tests. We can have multiple types of tests. They can be Selenium test, K6 performance test, that can be Gatling test as well. We can have rest assured test, we can have postman test. These all can be executed sequentially or on demand or in parallel. After that, we will be able to see the final report there on the pipeline itself. Okay. So yeah, I have already explained these particular points. So YAML file is used to write the script that is to be executed on the build pipeline. The build pipeline is a continuous delivery pipeline used to implement CI/CD of the code. Selenium test, a Java-based front-end test to be run in headless mode. So we cannot run our front-end test without them being in headless mode, which we'll be seeing in the demo. K6 performance test, JavaScript-based performance test that can check the performance of the APIs of the services. The REST assured tests are being used in integration test, Java-based integration test. Last but not the least, Postman test are JavaScript-based functional test for the API. Okay, so let's move to the demo section of our session. Okay, okay. So here, as you can see in the project structure, we have multiple types of tests. So we have a Postman test. Here we have a Postman collection that is to be executed. We have a K6 performance test. After that, we have rest assured test where we are testing the APIs, and we have Selenium test for UI testing. Okay, so we can have n number of tests over here, and that all is pulled together using a simple small YAML file. Okay, so let's start with on. So on defines what will be the trigger for the execution of our uh, pipeline. So here we have push and pull request. So whenever a new code is pushed to the master branch, this particular YAML will be executed. And if a new pull request is created on the code, then also we will be running our test on the master branch. Secondly, we have jobs. Jobs are used to define the tests that are to be executed. We have given a name to our test. Here we have given rest assured Maven test, and then we are telling it runs on. So runs on defines on what platform the test will run. It can be Windows, it can be Linux, it can be Mac. So here we are using the Ubuntu latest version. So whenever the tests are run, it will always be run on a Ubuntu system. After that, we have steps. So the first step is actions. So actions is mandatory if you want to check out any other data. If you want to set up a JDK, we want to set up SBT, everything. So we need to check out the actions first, and then in the second step, we are setting up JDK 11. In this, we can see using actions we are calling the Java version, and we are defining what version of Java and what distribution of Java. So Java version is 11. It can be 1.8, 12, 13, 14 according to the requirement, and the distribution can also be changed to Oracle or something like that. But it is also under our control. Next is our actual execution of the test. So here we will be running the test, and firstly we will be moving to our directory. So we will be in the root directory first, and we will be moving to the rest assured directory, and then we will be executing our test using the maven test command. So this will be the end of our first job, and using this our rest assured test will be run. Secondly, we will be moving to the maven test. Here we have added one new thing, that is needs. So this is used for sequential execution of our test. So if we have needs a backend test, so the backend test, let me just look for it. Backend test. I think this was the one. Yeah, so sorry. So the backend test is the first test, and once these tests are executed and they passes, then only our second test or the front end test will be run. If they fail, so there is no point of executing the other test. So it will stop the execution if the first job fails. In this also we are doing the same thing. We are setting up everything. We are setting up the platform. We are checking out JDK. We are giving the Java version, and in the end, we are moving to the Selenium demo directory and running our Maven test. Again, we will move to the next job, which is for K6 load testing. That is dependent upon the backend test and front-end test. So the above two tests will be executed first, and if they pass, then only we will move to the K6 test. Here also we will just be giving the file name to be executed, and the file can be executed, and we will be seeing the results. Last but not the least, we have Postman script, a Postman collection that is to be executed. So first we have the backend test, we have the front end test, and case load test. So all three tests, if they pass and passed successfully, then only we will be able to run this test, else it will not run. Here also, here we have a specific requirement of Node. We don't need Java, but we need Node. So we are taking a pull of Node version 12. After that, we are installing Newman. That is a tool to execute our Postman collections on terminal. After that, we are giving the run command, where we are giving the path to the Postman collection file, that is a JSON in JSON format, and that will be executing our test. Then we will be storing our report in report.html, and it will be retained for 2 days. So after 2 days, it will be automatically deleted. Okay. So let me show you code. So here we have already set up. We have pushed our code, and let me show you the. So we have the same file over here. So if we check the YAML file, we have the same file which we were looking at just now. But right now, if we go to the actions and execute this particular workflow, okay, so this has started executing. Okay, as you can see, the first test that is being executed is rest assured Maven test. If we will go, so you will see the everything that we explained before, that is happening automatically. We just clicked on the build button, and everything, it is downloading the dependency, and then in the end it will be executing the test. Just let's just give it a few more seconds. It should be done. So as we can see, the build is successful. We ran just give me a second. This. So all the tests have run successfully. Yeah. We ran test, zero test failed, everything worked as expected. So the second test that is being run is the Selenium Maven test. Let's just give it a few seconds. Here also, as you can see, the tests are executed successfully, build successful. Here we are able to see all the tests are run, but we are not able to see the record. So I will just check on that. Okay. Third one is the K6 load test. So these tests, this particular load test is running for 1 minute, so it will take that much time. And let's give it some time. So here we are giving it a specific amount of load for 1 minute, and we will be seeing the result at the end. Okay. So this test also ran and passed successfully. Okay. We did not get any errors. And last but not the least, the Postman project. So it is installing the Newman on the Ubuntu system. After that, it will be executing the test. Okay. So here also, all the four tests have passed. And as we can see in this as well, we are able to see that all the tests are executed and they are passing. So this can be done for a number of tests. So these were the four tests which I selected. Apart from this, we can have, as I think someone asked a question, that can we have Cypress in there? Yeah, we can have Cypress in there. We can have Gatling in there. So whatever requirement is there, we just need to add those requirements and the prerequisite in our YAML file. And if it is set up correctly, we will be able to test any type of framework easily. Okay, so I think that was all from my side. So thank you everyone. And if you have any questions, now is the time. Any questions from anyone? Okay, I will take it as a no. So, oh, thank you everyone for being such a patient audience, and thank you everyone. Over to you, Sushma.
Yeah, thank you, Ankur, for having, like, letting us know so much about this thing. I think many of us were not aware much about this. So, yes, this was an interesting topic, and you handled it very well. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Sushma. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ankur, for this session.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Sushma.
So, I think we can close the session.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining this session.
Okay. Bye.